a lawyer that's a charter baby, I would have never thought any of this remotely would happen in Canada. And but it has in a short, almost 2 generations, in short 40 years. Ezra, JFK once said that freedom and liberty is only 1 generation away from being lost. Well, in Canada, we're close to 2 generations away from being lost. And it happened in my lifetime.
Yeah. When you look back at 2022, it was like we lived a decade in a year, didn't we?
Well, we did. I mean, the worst part of 2022, and Ezra, you know this of me, I was called to the bar just slightly before the adoption of the Charter of Rights. So in the legal community, our generation are called charter babies because we were
BC,
the first.
Before the charter. You were born. You were sworn in the bar 2 years BC or whatever it was.
Right, and it came just at the same time. So we were, as young lawyers, we were completely enthralled with the process, and we loved the idea of having individual rights above the state. Much like, and I think America is the only country that truly has that. So we were very excited as lawyers who fight for individual rights to have the Charter of Rights in 1983 come to Canada. Now, there was some dilution to it, and some of us were upset that the notwithstanding clause was put in. That still allows Parliament the ability to override individual rights in very exceptional circumstances. And I can still hear Prime Minister Trudeau, not this one, the other one, Pierre Trudeau, and everyone else saying, this notwithstanding clause will never be used. Only in the rarest circumstances will you trample rights. So we were all applauding it. And 2022, only almost 40 years after the Charter, I have never seen so many individual rights trampled upon time after time at the whim of this Justin Trudeau government. And I'm sure his father is spinning in his grave. He was a jurist. He understood individual rights. This Justin Trudeau, I don't think understands anything except, political correctness and just being a vacuous human being. But so here we have, 2022, what happened? Well, people lost their jobs, lost the ability to earn an income. People lost the ability to have governance over their own body. Section 7 of the Charter violation. People lost their mobility rights. Section 6 of the Charter. People lost, and there's the worst, and I believe this one to be the worst. And that is, there are many public servants that sought an exemption, a religious or otherwise personal exemption from the vaccination, and they went before a Star Channel tribunal to explain their religion and their religious belief, and some were peppered and questioned. Do you really believe that? That is a Section 2 violation. Mm-hmm. Imagine, Ezra, just imagine the concept that one is asked if they believe in what they truly believe in by people, and at the end of it, their job depends on it. Yeah. The worst that you would expect. Go to Nazi Germany where, are you Jewish? And they're asked those questions. Your personal beliefs that should belong to you. That I remember as a young lawyer, never should the state ever be in the questioning of one's beliefs. If we did that, then truly everything is under attack. And these people had submitted before bureaucrats that really had no decision-making power because someone above that. And they were questioned. Do you really have those beliefs? Tell us more. And why do you want exemption? And it's, what are your religious beliefs? That is circa 1920. So talk about the crushing of individual rights. That was just the vaccines and protocol. Then you saw what happened with the convoy. I mean, that was in the use of the Emergency Act. Now, that Emergency Act is basically the new act of what was used, the War Measures Act. And I mean, think of the title, the War Measures Act. Those emergency powers will only exist in kind of time of war or unprecedented circumstances. Well, we used it over a peaceful protest. I live in Ottawa. There wasn't one crime, serious crime. There were no assaults. There was no damage to property. A lot of mischief charges, Ezra, mischief charges. And these people were at the wit's end with the violation of the rights of Canadians, and they came to Canada. So we used the Emergency Act. Again, a suspension of individual rights. And the worst, Ezra, at this time was co-opting banks to do the government's dirty crushing of individual rights. Imagine, Ezra, you or I could have given $20 to the cause of this liberation move or this rights return movement, and we would have had the state seizing our accounts, looking into us. I mean, this is, again, to a lawyer that's a charter baby, I would have never thought any of this remotely would happen in Canada. And but it has, in a short, almost 2 generations, in short 40 years. Ezra, JFK once said that freedom and liberty is only 1 generation away from being lost. Well, in Canada, we're close to 2 generations away from being lost. And it happened in my lifetime.
Yeah. That's an excerpt from my show every night. It's called The Ezra Levant Show. That's me, Ezra Levant. You can see the whole thing behind our paywall. Well, there's a lot of goodies behind there. I do a show every weeknight. My friends Sheila Gunn Reid and David Menzies and Nat and Kat have their shows too. You get a ton of content for just $8 a month. There's so much in there you won't find anywhere else. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.